Welcome to the 24th floor. I'm Richard Denson alongside Ruben Diaz. Some people call this duo R2D2.
No, they don't.
And
You're the only one who does that.
Yes, they do. You know, Ruben, the contrarian as he is. And after a lot of persistence, we finally got this guest in the building.
Yeah, excited about today. An exclusive sit down with new Memphis Tigers head football coach, Mr. Charles Huff. Welcome, Coach Huff.
Thank you, guys.
To the building. We
appreciate you guys having me.
You just dropped it already. While he picks the prop up, let's get things started. First of all, how you feeling about Memphis?
Good. It's been great. The welcome has been great. Obviously, the city, the community, the energy around Memphis football was already high before I got here. So just being able to infuse myself and our family and our coaching staff and our organization in that, it's been great. We got a lot of work to do, but the first few months have been phenomenal.
Awesome.
And for the people who don't know about your background, your previous stops, you were in Marshall, you had Southern Miss, you've kind of turned those programs around, but those cities can't quite compare to a city of Memphis. What surprised you the most about Memphis so far?
Typically most college programs are in college towns.
Yeah.
Memphis has a unique position because we're in a city, but it still feels like a small town. There's still enough passion, there's still enough excitement. Sometimes you get in big cities in the school where the college can get lost. That doesn't happen here in Memphis. Obviously, there's plenty of places to eat, there's plenty of things to do. Memphis in May has been phenomenal. There's a lot of things coming up this summer. So just giving the opportunity to enjoy the city, the community, but still not feel like you're getting drowned out by the size of the city or another professional sports team in the same arena. So it's been great.
My son is 12, plays football. He wants to go play at Miami. My oldest son, who's 27, tells him nobody goes to the games at Miami. So to your point, you're at a place where they're passionate about football. What's been the response from people so far as you've been out? Because I know you've had to do a lot of handshaking and baby kissing right now. That's the start of this thing.
That's part of it. But it's been great. This community is, they've been baptized in success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the previous coaches before me have been successful. Sometimes we lose sight of that because we maybe don't get to the pinnacle, or maybe we think we can be better, which is all understandable. But this city has an understanding of what success looks like. So they are excited about the possibility that we have to take the next step or to close the gap. So it's been great. The fans have been great. Now, we haven't lost a game. I haven't made a bad call.
Hey, he's winning.
I understand that as soon as we punt, there's going to be boos. As soon as we don't play well, I understand that. But the initial excitement, the initial support has been great.
I know from your opening press conference, two things that stuck out to me was when you're saying spot the ball. And obviously, in this area, we hear that also from Pete Golding, because that's the Ole Miss football coach, and that's also a team we cover. But I remember that, and then I remember you saying Google you. And because of the success rate that you've had at other programs turning teams around. And in this city, this community wants to see winners. That was something with the previous man, while his kind of welcome wore out. When we watch your football team, what do you want the fans to expect from every time y'all take the field?
Yeah, well, I can't sit here and tell you we're going to win every game, right? That's unrealistic. Yeah. But I do think our goal is to make sure the fans appreciate how we play. Yeah. How hard do we go out and represent the M? How much excitement do we give the fans that pay hard-earned dollars to come watch us play? We want to make sure that when you come to see us play, you feel like you have paid or that you have got your money's worth. Obviously, the goal is to win, and if I don't do that, there'll be another head coach here doing your show. I get that, but with the understanding of not setting expectations too high, but also understanding that we are standing on fertile ground. There's a lot of resources here. There's a lot of support here. So we should expect victory. Yeah. Now, the reality of it is it comes down to execution, but we want to make sure that when the fans watch us play, they say that team played extremely hard. Yeah. They were bought in. They gave us a show. They gave us an opportunity for something to come back for.
I've said all for years, effort and energy are two things that are non-negotiable, right? So if your team plays with effort and energy, win or lose, you can't really be mad.
Correct.
Because they gave you everything they
Well,
had.
in Memphis, Maine, they'll be mad if you lose. Now, they will acknowledge that you played hard, but they will say, well, you still should have won, which we understand.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right? The fans have a right, in my opinion, to want to win, right? That's what they invest for, not just money, but that's what they invest their time. Yeah. That's what they invest, going to work and, flying the colors and supporting the program. So they should want to win. My job is to help kind of set expectations. What does it take to win? Not just, we can, somebody can throw us $30 million and we can go win every game, but is that going to be something that's sustainable, something that's going to be appreciated? Is that going to be something that the players in the community are going to be good representatives of this community? Are the fans going to feel like, hey, we got to know this quarterback, we got to know this running back? That's the goal in winning, not just winning the game, but winning holistically.
What I've kind of already seen is even in the few months that you've been here, we know that you are a different flavor for Memphis. And you talk a lot about standards and discipline. We'll get into a little bit kind of how your practice is, how we heard it could be like the Navy SEALs. But where does that mentality come from?
Well, I was raised by my grandmother. Grew up on a farm, so discipline was something that was instilled in me from the beginning. My father was a college basketball coach. My uncles raised us to understand if you work harder than the people next to you, you're going to create opportunities for yourself. And then I've also been around this game long enough to know, and people, it's a game, yes. But when I get a young man who has an opportunity to change his family's career or his family's fortune through a game of football, and when I say a game of football, that includes academics, that includes getting to meet some of the donors, getting to meet some exposure that they may have, that is a serious event to me, right? Because these young men that we get, whether we get them for 6 months or 4 years, their families are entrusting us to return them better than when they came. So it's not just a game to me. This is a life-changing experience. And yes, losing a game matters to me. It matters more than anything. But having a young man not be successful after leaving our program matters as well. So yes, it is very important to us. With all of that, we don't have a lot of time for the fluff and the glitz and the glamour, right? So we got to get down to it. If you can be a disciplined person in life, you have a chance, you have a better chance to be successful. So we try to get our kids to understand we got a very short window, 4 years, 6 months, whatever it may be. We have to get right down to it. And some of that eliminates some of the fun, what people say. But what is fun, we just watched the NFL draft and watched how many young men hug their mamas and hug their families for all the hard work they put in.
Long-term goals.
Now, they don't have necessarily, we just had on campus graduation, right? A lot of our players went through that. Those two things to me are opportunities that we're responsible for while we're here.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm guessing that means we're not going to see like dunks on the sideline when somebody gets an interception. We're not gonna, no big gold, fake gold chain.
Well, I believe this. I believe
a throne.
I believe this. I don't believe in gimmicks, but I do believe in allowing the players to have an identity.
Yeah.
My philosophy is this. We work extremely hard from Sunday to kickoff. Mm-hmm. Once we get to kickoff, they can have all the fun they want to have. But from Sunday to kickoff, we got to be locked in. And that was my comment when I said like the Navy SEALs. When they're crawling through the mud and they're climbing over walls and they're getting ready for a war, not traveling to the war, but when they're crawling through the mud and they're simulating, entering buildings and clearing buildings, they're locked in.
Yeah.
Because when they get into the real arena, they got to be focused. You're talking about life or death, and I get it. War is totally different than football, but it's life or death to me too. Yeah. I have these young men's careers and lives in my hands, and I have to be ultimately responsible for preparing them for life. We all know life's hard.
Yep.
War is totally different. Don't get me wrong, all right? And I'm not by any means comparing or separating the two, but life is hard. If you enter this world without an education, you enter this world without some type of leg up, it's hard.
Yeah.
We have issues in our community and all across the country because there are so many people in the world who don't have an opportunity or don't have an avenue, so they have to go to ulterior avenues.
Yep.
Well, I'm here to make sure that the guys that come through our program don't have to do that.
Yep.
They have the core values, they have the discipline, they have the understanding of what it takes to be successful. Whatever it is. Maybe they're sitting up here and being sportscasters one day.
They can take his job.
Yeah, maybe they're being businessmen.
Get him
out of here. Yeah, whatever it is. Get him out of here. Yeah.
I'm Michael Penix. This Kirk Cousins.
There you go. Get him out of here. Yeah, we got to move forward. We got to move forward.
Who's had more contracts?
Okay
then.
64 years old. Come on.
Who's had more contracts? Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins. All right,
get
that's
it.
all
He
I'm
was
saying.
rocking with Dr. King a
I
few
get it.
decades ago.
And I still look good. Let's say something else.
I get it.
All right, but Coach, you talk about the team. Spring ball is over now. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come see you guys because Mother Nature, put a damper literally on the Spring Football Fest. What do you feel best about where your team is at right now?
One, we went through spring without any injuries, right? And that's a huge piece because depth is something that every team in the country is fighting and starving to create. The second thing is I thought we got better. This was the first time as a head coach that I've gone through a spring practice where there wasn't a day that you're like pulling teeth to get them to go. And when you can get that, doesn't mean every day is going to be perfect, but when you can get them to show up every single day, willing and wanting to improve, then you make strides. And I think we made those strides. Now, we still got a long way to go. And the summer is where the team is going to be formed. When we left our last team meeting before we released them for their kind of May break, I told them the team's in your hands now. Over the summer is where the team gets connected. Over the summer is where the team decides, are we going to play for each other? Or are we just going to go out here together in the same uniform? And these next few months are crucial, important. And the coaches are around and we support, but we really have to step back and let the players take ownership of the team now. Let the players take ownership of the standards. Let the players take ownership of what they're willing to accept and not accept.
We've talked a lot about the philosophy and the standards and all the other stuff around, but we only got a couple minutes left. Let's get to the nitty gritty if we can, because everybody wants to know, have you guys been able to, I know it's been so early, are you starting to get a feel for who QB1's going to be and running back 1's going to be like? Are you starting to get that feel, even if you don't want to announce it yet?
No, and we don't know, and that's not coach speak. We have a group of guys, and our goal coming out of spring was what group of guys do we feel can play consistent football? We've identified that. The next step is deciding who the QB1 is or who the leaders are. Who takes the lead in the summer? Right, when the coaches step back, which QB is going to have the barbecues? Which QB is going to lead this 7-on-7? Which QB is going to grab a receiver and say, hey, man, I know you're struggling. Come, let's go to lunch.
Gotcha.
That, to me, is deciding who the quarterback is. I'm a true believer there's two quarterbacks on every team, two types of quarterbacks. One is the quarterback on the team. He wears the uniform. He's in the position. Everybody knows, hey, that's a quarterback. And then there's a quarterback of the team. When that guy walks into the building, everyone knows that's our quarterback. That is, to me, identified through the summer. And that's what we're waiting to see. Both of those guys have had unbelievable summers, and the other positions the same way. Both of those guys have had unbelievable spring, Both of those guys have done what we've asked them to do up to this point. What we cannot create is leadership. I can't make you lead. I can't make you. I can do it. I can say, hey, have a barbecue this afternoon.
But it ain't the same.
But it's not going to be organic, right? So we have to figure out who is able to do that organically and then go into the summer and say, okay, you've shown that you're able to do it organically. Now let's put the consistency together and we put a game plan together getting ready for game 1.
Coach Huff, it's a lot that we can get into, but they're wrapping us on time. We sincerely appreciate you joining us on the program. Feel free to come back. You can take his spot.
I'll be back anytime.
This is a hard chair to fill, brother.
Well, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to retire the night before the first game. You can coach the game. I'll sit over here and critique and tell you how bad it was. Then he and I will really flash back to how bad you were and then how bad the coach were.
Right
Same deal.
It'd be L's for days if you got me coaching, brother. I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much
for
joining on the program.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Really do.
Check out U of M at Liberty. And then they got the nice renovations, too. You got to win with the nice renovations.
Got to win.
Level and everything.
Got to win. Need you guys to come out and support. Need you guys to fill that stadium. Need that energy. Need that support to help us out this season.
Yep, absolutely. Make sure and go watch the game. Support the squad.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back over Mother's Day weekend, I took the show on the road to Tunica County for a special conversation with Super Bowl champion and Horn Lake native Nakobe Dean and his mom. We talked football, family, legacy, and why giving back to the next generation means so much to them. That conversation from North Mississippi is next on the 24th floor. Welcome to the 24th floor. We are on the road here in Tunica County at Nakobe Dean's youth football camp, one of the Mid-South's own, coming back and giving it to the kids. Welcome to the program, Mr. Nakobe. And we joined by your mom here. A nice happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So Nakobe, why was it important for you to come back here and do this camp?
I feel like it's always important to come back, let the kids, see you, be able to
see me and hear it directly from me. I always tell them that I see myself in them because when I was their age, I was out here running around. I started playing football not too far away from here, probably here, I think, at GW Henderson Rec. So I tell them I see myself in them. As far as I seen myself being that little kid that was once out here running around, having dreams and aspirations to play big time ball like I'm playing now. So the whole thing I wanted to do is just kind of breed confidence and belief in them.
So going on behind us is your camp in progress. I know this has been kind of a tour for you. I mean, first you came in, you went to Horn Lake, your alma mater, talked to the first responders, talked to some of the guys there. Just tell me how all of this has been. I mean, for you to, like you said, start right here in your journey, going to the UGA, being a national champion, then going to the NFL, going to the Eagles, being a Super Bowl champion, to come back here for folks to see that they can do it in you. How does that kind of like feel?
It feels great. I mean, it feels great. For me, it's part of the job, you get, I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in. I'm blessed to have all these things that I've accomplished. But, giving back and everything is part of that job of making sure you inspire the next generation. So you have I inspire the next generation of kids who want to come out of Tunica County or Horn Lake, Mississippi, or Mississippi period, or down south period to do, or anywhere really, to do what they want to do in life. Like I said, that's not only on the field, but that's off the field. And then as far as helping the community and giving back, it's something that was instilled in me young by my mother, and I thank her for it, for sure.
And Mom, something we love about moms is day one. That's what I say about my mother all the time. They always right there in the trenches, in the huddle with us. To kind of see this young man come back and all the success he's had, just how much has it been for you to just kind of observe from afar?
Actually, it's been great because, when I think about legacy, a lot of parents think about what some people think about what they can leave for their kids. For me, it was always what I can leave in my children. So when I instill greatness in them and giving back and seeing it unfold before my eyes is everything. So I'm seeing my legacy unfold before me because the love that they have, the giving back, the reaching out, the helping those, going back in the community, helping those assisting family. I love it. I love it because I'm seeing my legacy unfold between me. So it ain't what I can leave for them, it's what I left in them. And when I can see this in them coming out, I can tell you the euphoric feeling that I have is phenomenal.
So this is a question for either of you all. Tell me a little bit more about your foundation, the Kind Hearts for Life. What does that mean? What is it all about? How long has it been going?
Well, actually, they grew up the community kids.
Okay.
So it's Director of Community Affairs and Public Relations. In my life, I brought them everywhere we went. We did 12 Days of Christmas, which inspired them to give back. Going to soup kitchens, the nursing home, Toys for Tots program, cleaning the neighborhood projects, doing things with the elderly, doing things with the kids. So I want to always inspire that in them. So Kind Hearts has been our Church for Life because I tell them it doesn't take a lot of money to give others. All you need to do is have a kind heart. Yeah. And when you have a kind heart, you can give freely to individuals, because what's from the heart reaches the heart. So presence is important. Your time, your patience is important. And really just like giving up yourself. The totality of yourself is a great gift.
And then you talk about presence being everything. I mean, being out here in Tunica County, a little bit away from Memphis, what do you think people don't kind of realize about the Mississippi kids right here, especially being so not too far from Memphis? I think they kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I remember growing up is the reason that I pushed to instill belief in the kids and confidence is because the lack of the lack there were when I was growing up. It wasn't really we didn't believe that we could. Well, we believe that I feel like I had a good support system that instilled that belief in me and told me I could do whatever I wanted to, and I believe that. But I feel like my peers and everybody from a mass majority of people didn't believe that it was a world outside of Horn Lake, Mississippi, outside of Tunica, Mississippi, that they can do whatever they want and their wildest dream can come true. So that's the reason I try my best day in and day out to inspire the kids that they can do whatever, the next generation, that they can do whatever, and even not even just the next generation, but anybody. You know, the grown people too, they can do whatever, and it's not too late. It's just as long as you put in the work, you got the right mindset with it. Yeah.
How's it been talking to some of the kids and everything? It seems like we got a good number. We got like 200 kids behind us and everything. So how's it been?
It's always fun talking to the kids. You know, if I get through to one of them, then I got through to enough. And it's always fun answering their questions, all the crazy questions they got. It's always fun.
Ultimately, what do you want kids to take away from something like this?
I mean, not to continue to repeat myself, but that they can do whatever they want to do. And, you know, and as long as they put in the right type of work, have the right type of passion, the right type of energy towards what they want to do, they can do it. And they can not only do it, but with flying colors.
And going back into your foundation, what would you like for that to grow into long term? Because an event like this is something, I don't know, maybe it's something you could do every year and everything and continue to inspire that next generation. What is like the long-term vision for Kind Hearts for Life?
Well, actually, we have done it every year since he's been in the league.
Okay.
And to continue, it grows more. We have volunteers to sign up. We have, when parents reach out and say, oh, it was so great. Oh, my son was so happy. He met your son. And we're always a little taken back when they say, oh my God, your son was actually here. And we're thinking, yeah, you know, we're hands-on. We bring it in the community. We're doing it so we're hands-on. So we would like for it to just continue to grow, to continue to reach out. We love partnering with other organizations. So we don't feel like team is like one person, one individual. We come together and make a great heartbeat. You know, so we love partnering with other organizations to make it big, to do things for keep the community going, to keep it going. You know, especially in these days, age, people need people, and if we can help and assist in any matter, we want to do this. So we want to just continue to grow what we have going on right now.
What do you got coming up in the pipeline?
July the 11th, actually, we're doing a back-to-school giveaway. We're going to have 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies, and it's for kids in the Mid-South area. So Tunica, Horn Lake, South Haven, all the surrounding areas, Memphis. We're looking for partnerships right now, so to match that 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies that we may have, and, you know, it may be Heartland. You know, we're working with them right now to see if we can get it matched. And we're going to have dental. Dental is going to be set up where we're going to give the dental supplies, but they'll be able to get free cleanings, make appointments for free cleanings. We're going to have doctors out there giving back-to-school physicals, and also other doctors giving health screenings. So we have a big day planned for July the 11th. It's the back-to-school community resource fair, especially with school starting in Mississippi July 31st.
Yeah.
Starting early, so it's going to be July the 11th in Horn Lake.
Has it always been like that with school starting that early?
I think I started like in August, August 7th or so when I was here. So I don't know, it's different to me.
Yeah. Moving a little bit back to the camp, so I noticed out here it's also members of the high school football team, and I know you talked to Horn Lake High School. Just kind of what some of the things they've asked you about, because they're more closer to that level of hopefully playing college football, hopefully being Division I like yourself. What's kind of some pointers you've given to them, especially in this NIL world now where everything is way more important, you know?
I mean, for the most part, a lot of guys don't ask me about how it was to make it in college. They live in the present moment, and they ask me about what the things I did when I was their age, when I was in high school, to better myself and separate myself from the pack. So just talking through that with them, and being 100% real, because I know like I said, I grew up in Horn Lake, Mississippi, so I know everything, all the vices and everything that they go through from head to toe. I know all of that, so yeah, we can be real and have real conversations.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, man. Me being an Atlanta guy from Georgia, you know, around there they be saying DGD,
Yeah.
and I'm standing right here with one of the best DGDs. Tell me what made you pick Georgia, man?
It was a good feeling. I had prayed to God. I asked him to give me like a little sign or something, and then I don't know. It just kind of was a gut feeling.
Yeah.
That can't. I don't know if people know my recruitment story, but that's a story for another time. But I waited till the last day to decide.
Yeah.
And yeah, I ended up choosing Georgia because it was my gut, and I couldn't go against my gut.
Hopefully nobody over here is Ole Miss fans behind us. You know what I'm
I met a lot of Ole Miss fans. Every time I come back to North Mississippi, I'm gonna run into Ole Miss fans. But they know now. It's like they say I made a good decision. And then after we fell to Ole Miss this year, they're not as salty.
It's all love.
All love.
At
all
the end
love.
of the day, it's all love.
All love.
Well, we appreciate your time, Mr. Nakobe. Appreciate your time, Mom. It's just wonderful work that we're doing out here and that you're doing out here. I'm so glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that y'all are letting me in on this. Is there any more lasting things that we want to get in about all of this?
Well, I'll tell you, you can go and follow us on Instagram, on social media. It's KH4L Foundation.org. So that's KH, the number 4L Foundation.org. You can follow us on there to see upcoming events, to see what we're doing. You can email us if you want to be a part and you have ideas. We're constantly growing, so please join us there. Follow us. Kind Hearts for Life, the number 4, Life, LYFE.
That's how you do it. I'm like that too. I put the signs and the gestures and everything. All right, this is Richard Dixon here at the 24th floor here at the Nakobe Dean Youth Football Camp, signing off here from Tunica County. Welcome back to the 24th floor. Lane Kiffin is once again at the center of the college football world, but this time it's not because of a play call or a transfer portal move.
Instead, it's his mouth. Shocking, right? That shocks everybody, right? Kiffin recently made some comments in Vanity Fair about Ole Miss recruiting and race in Mississippi as compared to in Baton Rouge, and all that is now going viral.
Yes, across social media, up and down my timeline, I just see nothing but Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, LSU. So what exactly did he say, and why are so many people reacting so strongly to it now? Well, you know how it is. We break it all down with the man you can't talk Ole Miss without. He's the host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, which you can catch right here on 24 Plus YouTube and anywhere you download your podcast. Welcome to the show, Mr. Stephen Willis. I don't know if it's apropos to do a clap day.
This isn't a clap day.
It's not a clap day.
No.
Yeah. So are we going to talk about who the starting pitcher is going to be this week for Ole Miss on Thursday? What is going on? Oh, wait. Lane Kiffin said something stupid, so we have to stop everything we're doing and talk about that.
I think that's his – it almost feels pseudo-petty, right? Like he feels like he has to say something to keep the topic about Lane and negative about Ole Miss instead of just going on about your business. Bro, you got all the money in the world now. What you worried about?
Yeah. So for the people who did not know, what Lane Kiffin said in a Vanity Fair article, basically was saying that he's had a problem recruiting players, black players, to Ole Miss because of the racial history in the past with the Confederacy and stuff like that. And basically that's a tough selling point. And now that he's at LSU, it's easier that he doesn't have those issues. So, Stephen, my opening question, why do you think these comments from Lane Kiffin hit such a nerve so quickly online?
Well, first of all, when it comes to this topic, Ole Miss specifically is very sensitive because of the way they've been over backwards over the last 50 years to erase what happened in the past. Not necessarily erase it, at least learn from it. I should say that. So that is the reason that they're going to be hypersensitive about that. Here's the other thing about it. It's not true. It's not true. I talked with high-ups at Ole Miss that have dealt in the recruiting process, and over 6 years at Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin did not bring this subject up one time. He talked about student attendance. He talked about the building needing to be refurbished. He talked about the stadium need to be bigger, but he didn't talk about this. So it makes you wonder, what was this for other than a publicity stunt? This is my thought. Ole Miss is recruiting at a level that it hasn't over its recent history. And Texas is on notice. LSU is on notice. And everybody's going after the same players. These old cards that got played 20, 30 years ago, they're trying to bring them back out to win a recruiting battle because this is the first time that Ole Miss has been a real threat on the recruiting trail in probably 30, 40, 50 years.
So I said something similar to that earlier when we were talking before the show. I said that it sounds to me like he's planting a seed. And what I meant by that is he knows there's going to be recruits down the line that he's going to have to battle Ole Miss for. And he can plant this seed of negativity. And then that way when it gets brought up, it's not a right now. It's like, oh, I didn't just bring it up right now. This is something we've been talking about for a while. So that's what it felt like. It felt like it was a recruiting dig when I first read the article. It was like, oh, there must be a kid he's wanting that he's afraid he can't get, and he needs to do something else to help along that process.
Yeah, there was a 5-star from Lafayette, Louisiana on Ole Miss's campus like a couple of days ago. I mean, there's a lot of players from Louisiana that Ole Miss is interested in. And this is the reality of the Vanity Fair argument. It was very weird when he was having this conversation, and he found a way to get in the term segregation in there. Yeah. He was able to say that. And that means that whenever he's doing it, they can clip that outside of the he said, she said, from a Vanity Fair article talking about Ole Miss and segregation. That is another reason why so many people are messed up, because they are using something real for something so trivial as this. This all reeks of almost petty ex-girlfriend going on, because it's not that he wants to be back at Ole Miss. He just wants Ole Miss to fail.
Yes.
He wants Ole Miss to not be able to succeed without him. And the fact that Ole Miss won 2 playoff games, the 2 biggest wins in modern program history by Pete Golding, that doesn't sit well with him. Him not being allowed to coach in the playoffs during that run really doesn't sit well with him. So when you look at this Ole Miss team and what's going on, he desperately needs Ole Miss to fail. He almost needs Ole Miss to fail more than LSU to succeed.
That is crazy, but I agree with you.
It's true.
I agree. Now, we do have to clarify, about an hour before we started this conversation, Lane responded to the backlash that he's getting, and it's still going on right now, saying those recruiting conversations that Ruben talked about were real, but he said that his comments weren't calculated. Does that change, Stephen, how people should view this?
No, he has a war going with the truth more than anybody else. The only thing that you should take from that statement is that LSU made him do it.
Yep, 100%.
That's it. That's the only thing. The quote is still out there. Nobody's going to talk about the retraction. They're going to talk about the original quote. So it's still going to do what he wanted to do, and everybody's going to forget about that apology. His war with the truth is real, and he is going to use that and weaponize it to use it against Ole Miss at a future date.
Now, there are some facts involved in some of this that we should probably talk about. Baton Rouge is like 66% African-American. Oxford is like 20%, 26 or something. It's somewhere in there. So there is a disparity in diversity between the two cities. There's no doubt about that. So to your point, it felt almost like using that as a weapon in a conversation that it didn't have to be a weapon in. That conversation could have went anywhere. He could have taken that Vanity Fair article and made it all about the greatness of LSU and what's going on at LSU and what he's doing, and he took time out of that to go take a shot at Ole Miss, even though he came back later and said he wasn't taking shots at Ole Miss. That, to me, that says a lot about what's going on in his head. I mean, is he focused on LSU or is he focused on Ole Miss?
Opportunity.
Well, he's absolutely focused on Ole Miss right now because of what we talked about earlier. But on that fact, with what they're talking, they're going to say the Baton Rouge density versus Oxford. How big is Oxford, Mississippi, as far as square mileage of what's going on? Not very big at all. So the percentage of that inside those strict parameters, yes, it's going to be a lot smaller than the capital of Louisiana. I mean that's kind of a ridiculous thing. If you spread that out over Lafayette County, got into Holly Springs or all of that, what the Baton Rouge footprint is with Ole Miss, those numbers would be a lot more close because Mississippi has the highest rate of African Americans in the entire country. I mean, it's not even particularly close. And whenever you cherry pick something like that, is completely disingenuous, designed to prove a point. It's not something to where, hey, this is going on, they're bad because this. No, we're going to take a 5-mile parcel in the North Mississippi and we're going to compare it to a 30-mile parcel in Louisiana, and surely the numbers down here in the capital of Louisiana is going to stand out. I think that's a bunk argument, because when you look at the fan base, when you look at the people that live in Mississippi, the numbers don't add up. It's 100%. Not that situation. So whenever Lane says that, it's disingenuous from the very beginning, because he's setting arbitrary rules and parameters about these different locations and who lives in what.
Now, Stephen, you've spent a ton of time in Oxford, from the coaching staff and everything. You've spent years and years and years. Lane basically suggested that some out-of-state black families still had concerns about sending kids to Mississippi. And I think this whole argument is about perception versus reality. Is that perception about, out-of-state people, is that something people around SEC recruiting have quietly acknowledged for years?
Well, like I said earlier, the issue of race at Ole Miss has always been a very touchy subject, and rightly so, because of the way everything went down. But the reality of the situation is, his quote, and this is what he had to say, is grandparents didn't want their kids going to Mississippi, not parents. Not something recent. Even in his quote, it's talking about way back when. And I think that is a positive. That should be viewed as a direction that the people in North Mississippi have gone for the better. But the fact that it still gets used, and it's been a while, it really has been a while since somebody tried to use this against Ole Miss. And I don't think this is going to particularly work as well, because basically Lane has lost the benefit of the doubt for what he's saying. Everybody kind of treats him like a used car salesman to begin with. But when you look at the progress that's made, his quote was terrible that he tried to do it. But when you parse what he actually said, that's actually a positive for Ole Miss, because it wasn't 20 years ago. That was parents saying their kids couldn't go to Oxford. And there were people in Memphis that were saying, I wasn't going to go down there. From not that long ago, the playing in the 80s and 90s. Now we're talking about grandparents, and it's a completely different thing. It's one of those weird things. It's not a glowing endorsement or anything like that, but it's a step. It is something you can count on. It's like, see, this is working. We need to continue to try and get better, and the more we try to do, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, I think that progress is always the goal, right? You're trying to get progress every day. Nobody's asking for perfection tomorrow. What does this do? Because so if you take Lane Kiffin before the departure, he's just being successful this year at Ole Miss, before all the rumors started, you would have said, man, this guy's legacy is about to be through the roof, right? Like, he's about to leave a legacy for real. Then you take the departure, the way that all happened. Deep down, he knew he wasn't going to get the coach, but the way he responded after that. And now, this isn't the first comment, but this latest comment as a dig at Ole Miss, what is this saying about what his legacy is probably going to end up as if he doesn't get this train back on the track?
The weird thing is, this is a guy that won 50 games in 5 years or something like that. It's one of the best runs in Ole Miss football history, and he is going to be remembered worse than Tommy Tuberville.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, he is going to be remembered worse than Tommy Tuberville because of the way he handled the exit. If he'd have just left and all of this just didn't mention Ole Miss and all of that, it would have been fine, but he can't help himself. He has to bring Ole Miss back into the story because of what we talked about earlier about needing Ole Miss to fail almost more than needing LSU to succeed.
So, Stephen, I know, you're tapped in with a lot of people in Ole Miss and everything. What's the reaction been like from Ole Miss administrators, from Ole Miss fans since all this came out? I know it's been a war on social media, and I know you've been right in the middle of it.
Ole Miss has handled this perfectly. It's just like everything that's gone on from November until now. It seems like they haven't made a step wrong. You haven't really heard too much from the Ole Miss admins during this whole thing. And it's kind of like Sun Tzu, The Art of War, talking about when your enemy is defeating himself, let him. That's kind of the track that they are taking at the moment. Now, behind the scenes, they are furious that all this got brought up, and especially all the lies and the war with the truth type stuff that happens in articles like these. whenever you look at that and start moving forward, I'm sure they have plans and plans on top of plans for ways that they can find remedies that they need to. But at this point, and with the reaction that Lane is getting over all this, it's America versus LSU, essentially. If you're not a fan of the purple and gold, you're on Ole Miss's side on this, and a lot of that has to do with Lane not having the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I guess we can say that September game is going to be intense. That's an understatement when LSU comes into town. Steven, as always, we appreciate your time, your insight. We knew, that's why as soon as it came out, I texted you. I was like, well, I know what we're going to talk about, so ain't no need of what do you want to talk about today. So appreciate you as always, Steven.
Appreciate you, big dog.
No problem, guys. Take care.
All right, coming up next on the 24th floor, it's time for Best Thing I Saw.
Yeah, you're going to love mine.
It is time for the Best Thing I Saw. Joining us back in the lineup, Mr. Ezekiel Telemaco. Well, as always, just like with basketball, we in and out of the lineup. People get hurt. People like Ruben, people get injured.
I ain't never been injured.
People get sick and stuff like that. Ezekiel took the week off, but he's back here with us.
Absolutely no. We were just kicking butt when it came to the mayoral race, and now we're back into sports. So I guess I'll start it off with the best thing that I saw more specifically is, again, the Memphis Grizzlies getting the 3rd overall pick. Again, this could have gone really south. We've seen it time and time again where teams that have had a terrible record, wind up picking in the 13s, the 12s, even the 14s as early as that. So for them to get the 3rd pick, especially after a season like this, it was just miserable. John Morant didn't work out. Obviously, we wound up trading some players away that, again, we expected to accomplish a lot more within the Bluff City. And especially with the loaded draft class like the one that we have in front of us right now, they're going to get a solid cornerstone for their franchise. No matter who you pick, I think, especially picking at 3, depending on, who's on the board, which is, the only 2 players are going to be off. I think, obviously, the consensus number 1 overall pick is going to be A.J. DeBonza, right? That's what everybody is saying, unless Utah somehow trades up. We know that, BYU, he went to high school as well in Utah, and they are obviously going to make a bid for him. But from a generational prospect standpoint, other than A.J., I think the board is all up for grabs, in my opinion, in terms of who we can expect off. So I don't know how you guys feel about the Grizzlies landing the 3rd overall pick, but who would you want to see with that pick?
Ruben, I know you're dying to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, long-winded around here, brother. I would say Cam Boozer.
Yeah.
I think if Memphis gets Cam Boozer, it's a huge get. I just think so. I mean, they could point guard situation with John, all that's what it is, but you don't get a Cam Boozer or A.J. DeBonza. I'm not the biggest Darren Peterson fan. I'm not gonna lie.
What about what he said about creatine? I was waiting for this.
I think.
See, you said the cramping wasn't real.
It wasn't real. You know why that
creatine?
So you know why they came out with that? Because what happened to his draft stock? Boom. He was the number 1 for most of the season, and A.J. DeBonza kind of took that spot, and Cam Boozer became in that conversation, and then that's why Darren Peterson started playing more, because he wasn't playing most of those games.
Because creatine.
Get out of here with that.
He wanted to get drafted.
Get out of here with that, man.
His draft stock was plummeting, but when it comes to that, even though, for you to call, he thought he was going to die.
Wait a minute, folks. In our ear, we just got breaking news. Brandon Clark of the Memphis Grizzlies just passed away.
Oh.
Wow.
We do not know what happened, the specifics of that, but we just wanted to say that we're hearing it right now on this program so people don't be like, oh, well, y'all ignored it. We will figure it out and obviously report on in the other ABC 24 News.
Yeah, very unfortunate news.
Very unfortunate. But, Ruben, I know that's a tough thing, but we got to get to your best thing.
Let's get to the best thing I saw. The best thing I saw, and it's pseudo being facetious here, is the NCAA tournament expanded to 76 teams. And I'll keep it short. Could be great if more mid-major teams get in. Not going to be great if they just let more of the low-end Power 4, Power 5 teams in.
So for sure, Miami, Ohio gets in, and there's no debate in
100%.
And Auburn. So Bruce Pearl, be happy. You're getting in one way or the other.
Not great for my bracket. I mean, you guys saw me in last place as it is. How am I going to even compete with 76 teams now,
More opportunities for Ruben not to win. I'll always take it.
I'm just saying it has a chance if they do it right. And from what I saw about how they're going to handle the first round and some of the other stuff, if they do it right and they don't just give it to more Power 4 teams that don't have good records, then you can get some of that parity back in the NCAA tournament that we all love. That's why we love the NCAA tournament. It's because somebody you don't know is going to win a couple of games and make it fun.
So is it basically now what we should assume is the regular season winner will get an automatic bid,
Yes.
and the conference champion, tournament champion will get an
Yeah, I think they're ironing out some of those details too, because I just looked at some of it not too long ago, but it was something to that effect, is that basically conference champions would get those opportunities, and it was more at-large bids. It was creating a few more at-large bids. The problem with the at-large bids is they typically go where?
to the playing games.
They typically go to the power conferences.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because they're going to say, well, a bad Ole Miss team is
so
still
the
better
whole
than
SEC team is going to
yeah,
make the
yeah,
tournament.
the whole SEC is going to be in there,
Whole
right?
Big
The whole
12,
Big 12.
whole Big
And
10.
that's what none of us want to see. We want to see parity. Like, we want to see some change.
Do we hope U of M still gets in and around a 76 team?
We won't have these hypotheticals, I think, going forward where we are wondering, hey, like, would this team compete or not? Where we're on the show saying, oh, we think they could or not. Now we're going to actually see it play out. So
If U of M can't make a 76 team tournament,
But but there needs to be parameters. So in college football, there were like you had to be above 500 to make a bowl, and then there were certain parameters around what bowl games you could get to, and your strength of schedule and all that stuff. Some of that's gotten away in college basketball because they were expanding the teams, so they were expanding the field, so they were letting more people in, so you're losing some. I think they need to tighten some of those restrictions back up. I think you need to have certain strength of schedule. I think you need to have certain number of wins. I think you need to be finishing in the top 2 or 3 of your conference, whatever that needs to be. But there needs to be some restrictions so that you are getting the best teams playing the best basketball in that tournament.
You don't want like another SMU football situation.
No, we don't want that no more.
well, don't get him started on the college football thing.
You know where that's going.
It's different things with different levels to this with college football, basketball. All right, lastly, let's get to my best thing. We'll bring it back to the NBA. My favorite player in the NBA, one of my favorite players of all time, James Harden, turning back the clock in Game 3 against the Detroit Pistons. Down the stretch, James Harden answered the bell and showed exactly why the Cavaliers got him clutch bucket after clutch bucket. He finished with 19 points and 7 rebounds. And the Cavs, they won this game, Game 3, and they won the other night against the Pistons. The series all now tied now at 2-2.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you know me, I will run my mouth about some bad NBA, but I love about that? People were playing defense. They were locked in on that man. Dude just couldn't stop Harden. I mean, he shook him out.
And in the playoffs, Harden is, that's the thing. The knock on him is he does not deliver in the playoffs, but he answered the critics.
What about Mitchell, though? Mitchell was
39 points and a half, something like that. It's crazy. You've seen some good NBA basketball here in the stretch. I watched the Thunder and Lakers.
LeBron swept.
Yes. And I did read
Talk all that trash about Memphis.
I did read something interesting about LeBron, which I thought that I did take heart to, is on the latter stages of all the great careers, nobody's expected them to lead them to the championships.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there is this unfair measurement on LeBron that they should still be competing for a championship, even at his age and his experience.
Oldest, yeah.
At this point, he should be able to go out gracefully and not have all that extra on him. The dude's not going to lead him to a championship anymore.
But
it's a
do you
wrap.
think there's like a Tom Brady-like thing where, even when Tom was 45 in Tampa, I think people are still expecting for him to, make the big game, go to the Super Bowl? Well,
that's different. He's a quarterback, and it's only playing one side of the ball.
Yeah, I think that's
LeBron
fair.
has to play both ways. Everything.
But I think some of it is also that in 2 years, to use your example, Tom Brady, they put all the pieces around him for him to just be the orchestra,
the point guard,
run it all, right? Yeah. But in the NBA and in basketball, you really literally, that person can't just be the point guard in the NBA. You got to be so many other things. And so I think that LeBron, I love the NFL, but the NBA does require a different skill set of athleticism. I'm not seeing Tom Brady run up and down that court at all, ever. I don't know that he could do it. So,
do we think that's it for LeBron?
Yeah, it needs to be.
You think for real?
I think he's going to try to go one more year, but I think it needs to be done.
Wow. I think 24. I think he's going to go one more year as well. I think that with Luka, he's probably going to try and run it back as a third or fourth option with Reeves, obviously. Luka, they have a solid roster. I just think that, obviously, unfortunately, availability is the best availability.
And if he comes back, does he do like in the NFL, when you're a great and you're on the back end of your career, you become the backup quarterback, the mentor. You become the person that's helping the young ones get great. Is LeBron willing to do that? Is LeBron?
This was the first time he's ever been a third option.
Is LeBron willing? And I'm talking about. Is he willing to not be a starter? Is he willing to be that guy on the bench who's just helping that next generation, or is it still going to be about LeBron doing what LeBron?
I think he'll always be a starter.
Yeah,
but the thing of being a third option, which he alluded to, he's never in his life, not just his career, his life, been a third option and taking a backseat to Luka and Austin Reeves. We will see what happens with Austin Reeves' free agency situation. It's interesting. I think he'll come back, but I think he has played his final game with the Lakers. Which
really?
You brought up.
Okay, you think he
Austin Reeves?
No, LeBron.
LeBron.
You brought up something.
Going back
LeBron
to Cleveland.
Possibly, but LeBron has put more years with the Lakers than Cleveland and Miami.
Yeah, I could see him going back to Cleveland
crazy.
to finish things out. You know, you go back, take a back seat, take less money, and you're just finishing your career in your home state.
your farewell tour.
Yeah, I kind of do it that way.
So I got to do a temperature check before we go. Y'all want to change your finals predictions? I'm going to change. I know at the beginning I said OKC Cleveland. Now I got to change that to OKC New York.
New York's playing well.
The Knicks, I mean, now I'm happy we took 2 games off of them because what they did to the Sixers was worse than what they did to us.
Well, when you have, great players on both sides of the court, like they really emphasize defense more than anything. Like they packed Philly up in more than I thought that would go to like 6 or 7 games, considering what they did to Boston, coming back 3-1 and having all of that momentum. And for them, they didn't even stand a chance in any of those games. Like it was just a complete outmatch. So I think that it's going to be the Knicks and Spurs.
Still rocking with the Spurs?
I think so. I think that Wemby is just different. I think that this kid is going to be, when it's all said and done, if there's no injuries, I think he's going to be the greatest of all time based on what the kid is insane.
I'm going Oklahoma City and New York as well.
Yeah.
After watching the way the Thunder just dismantled the Lakers, and don't get me wrong, the Lakers are not a great team by any means by a stretch of imagination, but they dismantled them and it made it look easy.
Yeah.
That I just think they're going to be very hard to stop. I do love New York's roster. One thing I love about New York's roster is that they have so many great veterans.
Yeah.
That team is loaded with not just a bunch
Josh
of
Hart,
no-names veterans. You're talking about,
Brunson,
you're talking about
Mikal Bridges.
Veterans that are great. I mean, I think that gives them an edge in a lot of ways.
I hate the Knicks, but I got to give them their credit. I mean, the Spurs stand the best chance to beat the Thunder, but that series seems to might go 7 with Minnesota. So OKC, getting top
great
of the
chemistry with OKC, great chemistry with, again, the Villanova boys, right? A lot of them played on the same team in college. So, when it comes to what we can expect, I think that either one, no matter what you view in terms of that, I think we're going to get a great finals matchup. I think it's going to be a lot more entertaining than what we saw last year.
I think the playoffs have been great all the way around. I know we're out of time, so for all the people who know that I don't love regular season NBA, I actually love playoff NBA.
Yep, and that will do it for today's episode of the 24th Floor. Shout out to everyone who made today's show possible. I'm talking about Leanna Davis, Azariah Calum, Terrence Lowley, Daphne Thomas, their work behind the scenes getting this show together. Big shout out to Memphis Tigers football head coach Charles Huff, Nakobe Dean, his mom Nikita. As always, our guys, Stephen Willis and Ezekiel Telemaco.
Feels good to be back.
Yeah, all right.
Appreciate
Thanks so much for
guys.
joining us. Make sure and catch it next week as well. Who knows who might be the guest next week?
I know. We'll see. We'll see you on the other side.